morning. Cindy Birkeland here with cindybirkeland.com. And yet again, I have a super fun and fabulous guest with us today. I have Miss Virginia Knudsen of Bohr. But I want to have you explain your background and what you're doing because, you know, Virginia I knew was perfect for our show and what we're doing here because she's in business every day and actually coaches high net worth CEOs. So tell us a little bit about your background, and I really just want to get right into this with you.
Okay. Well, my name is Virginia Knudsen. I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Bohr, and we are a personal and professional development company. So we are passionate about helping leaders be their absolute best and even more passionate about the up-and-coming leaders and teaching them everything they don't learn in school to be great leaders. So we run mastermind groups. We do coaching with CEOs, executives, like you said, high net worth C-suite people. And the focus of our company is truly just helping them be the best leaders they can be because the trickle effect from that is teaching their people and their up and coming leaders to also work that way. And our focus is creating conscious leaders that understand that it's about the people and it's the emotional intelligence and the leadership that create the best companies.
That's right.
If you take care of your people, the money will come. So
absolutely.
It's
always about
it's
your
about
people.
The people.
That's right.
You respect your people, you take care of your people, and you give them all the tools to be successful, and then you have their loyalty.
Great.
You have them for life, and then the money comes. And so that's what we focus on is how are they showing up as leaders? How are they showing up as people? And we like to say we focus on the whole leader, physically, mentally, spiritually. The best people that they can be is what's going to have them be successful.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to take one of her classes. They invited me into a CEO group. Gosh, it was like a week or two ago. And I was just so impressed with the quality of people that were in that room and what everybody was up to. And they were all just really standing for one another. If one person as a CEO had a problem or had one issue going on with his company, everybody jumped in to kind of support with that. And then there was so much as far as a guest speaker and offering so much just to keep your tools sharp, like sharpening your tools. I loved the class. What I noticed is that, you know, we were just talking about this earlier. The CEOs will come to the group with issues they're having and everybody, you know, jumps in to solve these problems. And I know you get asked this a lot, but what would you say is the number one question or issue that a CEO has when he's coming into a group like yours? And what's the coaching that you give to a CEO like an Elon Musk or someone like that? How do you coach someone like Elon Musk?
Okay, so let me first I'll tell you just a little bit about the mastermind group as a whole and what you saw. So when you hire a coach, it's your experience, your education, what you know about your industry, and now you've added my education, my experiences, and we've doubled the possibility to solve these type of issues, opportunities, things that come up as a business owner. When you put people in a mastermind group of 12, 15, 16 CEOs and executives from all different backgrounds and educations, all with one purpose, and that is they come into this room in contribution. They're all there 100% ready to give to each other, which is why they all get so much value. You have now the possibilities of solving this with an outside the box competitive edge answer is limitless.
Wow.
And that's where the power is. So as a coach, how I coach a little bit differently is my job is not to solve your issue or even help you solve your issue. As a business owner, my background is banking. I was a 30-year banking in town, helped start Bank of George. And I've run businesses, so I could probably help you with your issue. But my job is to get it to the group, because what if they have an outside of the box answer that even I didn't think of that'll take your company to the next level? And we have so many stories of just exponential growth because of what all these people in this mastermind can do. So my job is to find out what the real issue is. And what we have found is the issue brought to the table is very rarely the real issue. The issue usually stems from what I'm not seeing, my blind spots, my limited beliefs, my fear, a lot of things that are happening up here. And this is what distinguishes us from some of the competition when it comes to Mastermind. Is we do talk about business and growth and teach those things, but our primary focus is what's really stopping me from having the company I want, the culture I want, the relationships I want. And it's usually up here. So that's where we're a little bit different. And people ask me all of the time, what is the one thing that across the board your CEOs and executives struggle with? And it's funny because I believe it's what most of us struggle with.
Not just a CEO.
Not just a CEO. Okay. And that is either the unwillingness, the uncomfortableness, or the procrastination of having those really tough conversations. The conversations that need to be had, but we avoid them based upon what we make up about them. As leaders, it's, letting somebody know what's not working, right? Yeah. We make up that we're going to hurt their feelings, they're going to leave us, all of these things, when what we like to talk about is what's the come from. Mm-hmm. Why do we have those conversations? And I've even tried this, so I know it's true, but if I were to ask 100 people in a room, how many of you want honest, direct, timely feedback on how you're showing up as a leader, in your relationships, as a person? Everybody's hand goes up.
Yeah.
They all want that feedback.
Of course.
But when I turn around and ask how many of you deliver honest, timely feedback on how the people around you, your employees, your spouse, the people closest to you show up, 2 to 3 hands go up. 2 to 3% actually deliver it. So there's a huge gap between what we say we want and what we're willing to do. And our belief is it's because of our fear, our limited beliefs, and the things we make up. And so we talk a lot about what's the purpose of the communication, right? If the purpose is to bring us closer and improve our relationship and strengthen it, then we do the steps to go into it from that purpose and from the right come from, then it's going to move the relation forward. But if my purpose is to be right about something, what does that make you? Wrong. And so I'm not going to get the outcome. I've had people say, well, I'll go back a step. So if you're familiar with personality profiles and maybe even DISC, the percentage of people that say to me, a huge percentage of the people that say, I have no problem having those conversations, are sometimes like the high D on the DISC, like they're real movers and shakers and drivers. And they'll have the conversation, but they're not necessarily realizing or looking at the trail of dead bodies behind them because of how they had that conversation, right?
Right.
So it's about having it, but it's also about understanding your audience, who's in front of you, and your purpose, so that you have that conversation in a way that that person hears it, can learn and grow from it. So I like to say that we are responsible for our communication in at least knowing that our come from is from the right spot.
That's so powerful, because I remember being a very young business owner when I started my mortgage company years ago, and we got so big so fast, and we were moving at the speed of light almost every day. And it really was important for me to learn. I did go through a training exactly like you're talking about, and I learned it is so important to be really laser in your communication and come from a good place, and it's just about being honest. And you're right. I find that a lot of my clients go through the very same thing, where they're not being honest with themselves, even about their finances, about their relationships. I feel like a marriage counselor a lot of times when I get clients in to see me about their money, because I realize they haven't even had money conversations with each other before they're coming to me. And so I've got to bring these things out, and now we're having, I'm asking people to get really real and honest with their finances. Yeah. And, it's a really loaded place to, finance is a hard one, but also marriages and relationships can be really hard, or they can be easy.
And part of that is because I'm guessing that you're uncovering things that they haven't been honest about.
That's right.
Maybe the whole length of their relationship. There's this phenomenal book called Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott that started me down this path. And one of the things that she says that I love is every single relationship, everyone in your life, in my life, that has ever ended one conversation at a time that either was done poorly or wasn't had at all.
Wow.
And that is because
Wow.
we don't have it. Think about it. Every relationship that ever ended gradually, then suddenly, one conversation at a time. We didn't say it. You know, if I go off sometimes about the glass in the sink, right? It wasn't the glass in the sink. It was all the times that I didn't say.
I'm really
that
resentful that you keep leaving.
And it built up and built up and built up until the relationship ends.
That's
Either
right.
I end it, you end it, an employee walks out, because when we're not telling them, when we think, well, it's not that big of a deal, so I'm not going to have that conversation, or it's the warm body syndrome, or I'm afraid to have that conversation because they might leave.
Yeah.
We don't even realize that chaos that is costing, and the money in the office, because of the resentment it's building for the people that are performing. That person, if we're not happy with them, we don't have to tell them, they know.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting there. So the thing about not having those conversations, we don't have them for fear of it ending. And what's funny is almost 90-something% of the time, what we're fearing ends up happening anyway, because we didn't have the conversation.
That's right.
So it's all about understanding that honest relationships. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have people. We won't do it because we think that it's going to be conflict.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be conflict. If we're coming from love and we're coming from moving it forward and helping the person in front of us and helping the relationship, we can do it in a way that moves everybody forward. And that's what we're passionate about, is having those conversations and helping people be their best. And that means being honest. So we spend a lot of time role playing, talking about and getting past those fears to have real, honest relationships.
Well, you know, and I remember going through the training and the things that you're discussing, and you know what really, really helped me as I was going through and learning new ways to be in life and how to talk and how to have conversations that were so much more productive and, you know, really moved things forward in all relationships, not just business. But I would lay down at night and I would just kind of take stock in my day. And I was like, did I do my best today? And was I honest today? And then I would go back to those conversations where I held back, like as a business owner, I didn't want to say to that employee, yeah, we really need you to do this. And, you know, or we need you to come on time, or all those things that, like you said, I just didn't want to have, because what if we got too in the weeds and then I've got a busy day and blah, blah, blah. And taking stock in your day at night when you lay down is like, did I do my best today? Was I 100% honest today? And if I wasn't 100%, I'm like, okay, I really got to handle that tomorrow. Like, that's something I really get to do. And I'm just really excited about starting for us to work together. You know, you're bringing a new team into play, like you're bringing a new training group into town. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
So how we started our company was 21 years ago. Me and one of my partners had gone through a transformational type training, an emotional intelligence training that rocked our world and changed our lives. And we've always been passionate about that. And we're actually supporting and committed to helping bring in a nonprofit that does that type of work. It's a real partnership with what we do. So going back to leadership, I believe very strongly that as a leader, it's my job to give you all the tools you need to be successful.
Yep.
And to do that, I need to understand who you are. So from emotional intelligence side of things, and there's scientific evidence in all of this, that people with high emotional intelligence, which can be learned and practiced, are way more successful in overall life than people with a high IQ.
Yep.
And IQ is important too, but that's not what makes people successful overall in life. It's the emotional intelligence. So we're passionate about teaching you to understand, who am I, who are you, and as a leader, how do I coach, mentor, and inspire you the way you need to be inspired? Because it's completely different, possibly, than the way I need to be inspired.
Yeah.
And so much of our history in leadership has always been, you know, do what I say, you know, more, I'm coaching the way I think you should be coached, not necessarily the way you need to be. And the generations that are coming up, they're different.
Yeah.
And, you know, today there's 5 generations in the workforce today. And each one of them have a different work ethic, a different priorities, different things that motivate them, different ways of communicating. And we need to understand those if we want to be successful today. So those are the things that we're excited about in this company. It's called atlas.org. You can check them out. That's coming in is really in alignment with our values, and that is about, again, helping people be their best selves. And the first part of that is figuring out what's stopping us. Mm-hmm. What is my limited beliefs? What is holding me back from having those conversations, from being successful? And sometimes we don't even know what those are, and they're usually things we picked up in our childhood, beliefs about ourselves that were then meant to support us, but today they don't. And so we're really excited about bringing that to
Isn't it amazing? And that bleeds through in every walk of life. Like I said, I'm in the money business, and I get people that I'll ask them, why do you think that about your money? Tell me, we're drilling it down. Where did you come up with that? And we get to it where, well, I think that was how my dad used to operate. It wasn't really their belief, but it was kind of like that's how they grew up. So this is so exciting that you're bringing this to town. I'm super excited to be a part of it. I can't wait for the first training room to be in that and involved. If this conversation interests you and you love what you heard today, please get a hold of me at cindyberkland.com. Also, Virginia's company is Atlas.
No, my company is Bohr.
Bohr.
So it's bohrcommunity.com.
Okay.
And we are partnering with and supporting atlas.org, a nonprofit bringing this training. So we do separate things, but they're a real partnership between the mastermind and the leadership and what he's doing. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time today, Virginia, and you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.